Welcome and thanks for tuning in to the UCRD Reviews channel. We have another Robot Spirits review. This time it's an exclusive and it's an older one. It's the MS-09RS Rikdom Char's custom model. And this is a version anime. This is one I've been wanting to pick up for quite a while. I wanted a DOM, but I wanted a unique one, and this is the most unique one that they've released thus far. So you might be wondering where Char got a Rikdom from. This did not appear in the anime. This is actually from the Mobile Suit Gundam Novel. The novel storyline, especially near the end, was a bit different, and it actually had Char joining a kind of a new type corps for Cassilia, and it was made up of Rikdoms, and he got his own custom Rikdom that was used in the Battle of Oboaku, where he fought Amuro in the Gundam G3 and tried to recruit Amuro. But this was later in the anime turned into the Zeong, and Amuro just used the regular Gundam. But it has a release in the Robot Spirits line now, which is pretty cool. There's a little bit of history with this one. We've had the Char's Rikdom released before as in the MSIA line. It was a very old release. It was the original DOM figure. It was just painted in Char's custom colors, and it was also released, I believe, in Xeonography as a Pinzun Dowaji and Char's Rikdom. You could make either or. And now we have it in the Robot Spirits. I believe it also came out in the High Complete Model Pro line, and then it had a metallic variant. But you know, the Robot Spirits kind of, for me, being the successor to the MSIA line, we haven't had this figure in a very, very, very long time. So let's check it out. Alright, so now that we have it all opened up, let's take a look at it. So this is Char's Rikdom. So we have some decent articulation here. Nothing absolutely groundbreaking, but it works. We have this odd chest movement here that moves the head as well. The head can actually move around quite a bit. I remember on the MSIA DOM you really couldn't move the head hardly at all. I think at all. I don't think it moved. The thrusters all move, they're ball jointed. You have some interesting wrist articulation. I know I just showed it a second ago, but I didn't really comment on it. You can actually bend the wrists down. This is for holding, you know, the DOMs always came with bazooka type weaponry, so it helps with holding those. You can move the feet out quite a bit, and then the verniers, as you move the foot out, can actually go back to their kind of original position, which is kind of cool. So a little history on this figure. This is the second DOM type release. The Black Tri-Stars DOM was the first one. So this is kind of a rehash, but also a resculpt, in that, you know, these thrusters had been changed. The DOM figure didn't have some of this, but otherwise it's pretty similar. You have the Xeon emblem, Char's emblem, etc. I don't know if that was Char's or Cassilia's, but anyway, you have some good detail on here. So let's check out and see what you get. So let's go through the standard stuff real quick. So it's a version anime, which means you get one of these things, hold your hands. You also get, if I can get them out, there we go. You get your gun hands with the trigger fingers exposed. You get a You can tell there's a bit of a difference here. Although the trigger finger is also exposed on this one, it can also be used as more of a sword hand or a gun hand. I usually use it for the sword. But you only get one of these, so you only get a right hand. You do not get a left hand. Then you have this like super exaggerated posing hand. You only get it in a left hand. So this is a release. This is the first release I've had where you don't really get doubles of some of these hands. And then you get another left hand only of this one, which is kind of odd that they didn't give you, you have the two trigger hands. This should have got a left hand, and I think these should have got right hands. I don't know why they omitted some of the hands off the final release of the figure, but that's what they did. So let's take a look at the weaponry. Alright, so first off, you get the classic Dom weapon here. This is the 360mm giant bazooka. And it looks really good. I think if I had to make a complaint, it would be this. This piece is extremely long. Isn't quite accurate to the line art. It may be just kind of a stylized piece, but this moves so the handle does turn all over the place. The camera looks good. It turns as well. There's an interesting little piece back here that can actually pop off and can be replaced with this. In the Battle of Bawaku, I believe, it showed a Dom firing the bazooka, and this little flap opened up. So for some reason they thought it would be cool to release this, which that's all right. I believe there's an effect part that goes along with this, as well as an effect part that goes here. But I won't be reviewing any effect parts because you don't get any in this release. It's a version anime, but you don't get a single effect part, which is kind of odd, especially considering it doesn't have very many accessories to begin with. I think at the very least a bazooka firing effect or even a beam effect for this big giant gun would have been really, really neat to get, but you don't get any of that. You just get the weapon. So this is the beam bazooka that Char's Rick Dom used. This was also used, I believe, by Annabelle Gatto in his Rick Dom. But it's basically a battleship cannon. It has its own reactor and everything. It's a battleship cannon made for mobile suit use. It does have the movable handle there, and I think that's the only piece that actually moves around. But it looks good. It's got clear plastic for the cameras. Again, just a missed opportunity, I think, with the lack of an effect piece. It's pretty big too. I mean, you can see the giant bazooka is huge, and this thing's way bigger. But no effect pieces. So our final weapon here is the heat saber. So in order to put it in the mobile suit's hand, you just put the handle on and then put the end piece over. But we're missing something here. So this is the kind of deactivated heat saber piece, which also comes with a piece that will allow you to store it, which plugs into the back of the Dom. And it just kind of goes, you want the more open, see that one's more open and then this is closed off. You want the more open side up, and it'll just fit right in. And it's ball jointed, so you can move it all around you want. So this is the deactivated heat saber, but we don't get an active one. So this is a version anime, and the original Dom Robot Spirits release, the one that came before this, also only came with a yellow heat saber. Now, in the anime, when the Black Tri-Stars attacked, the heat sabers, I believe, turned white when they were activated, which is kind of reflective of what the, what is it, the EMSIA DOM, or the version 2.0 DOM, I think it was version 2.0 MSIA DOM, came with. It came with a yellow one and a white one. So that is anime accurate. Now Rick DOMs, this is a Rick DOM. The Rick DOMs in the anime, I believe it was the Battle of Solomon, one of them was attacking one of the gun cannons, and the heat saber turned blue. Now, fast forward past this release, they did release a Rick DOM, and it comes with a yellow heat saber and a blue heat saber. But this Char's release was kind of in between. It was after the DOM, but before the Rick DOM. So it does not come with a activated heat saber. So it's completely omitting one of the very few weapons that the Rick DOM has, which is very unfortunate. You know, I like that the beam bazooka was included, which is also included with the Rick DOM. Again, that was released later. So you get two guns and a deactivated heat saber. You know, you can pretend it's 8th MS team, and I think in 8th MS team it was white when it was off and orange when it was activated, but that's kind of a disappointment. I mean, just, that's it. That's everything this thing comes with. Now, you know, they do have, you remove that, they do have a movable mono eye system, so it's ball jointed back there and kind of extended out, so you can move it wherever you want. The DOM was always kind of a design that didn't look too good when the mono eye was moved around a whole lot. I usually just kind of keep it centered, or maybe slightly off center, because it looks a lot better than just all the way over to the side. But, you know, I do like that feature, but just the accessories, you have no thruster effects. I mean, look at all the thrusters there are. There's nothing. There's no thruster effects whatsoever. Even down here, these can all utilize thrusters. You have the stand piece. This could have very easily had at least one gun firing effect, and at least 3 thrusters, I think. You know, maybe even 6. You know, this is an older release. You know, the Black Tri-Stars High Mobility Zaku 2 is going to come out soon. That one I think had like 9 thrusters that it comes with. And being an exclusive, you're already paying a premium for this figure, so, you know, I don't know. I don't really know what they're thinking. So this was a pretty interesting release. It felt rushed, unfortunately. Now, I knew all of this going in. I really, really, really like this design. You know, thankfully, somebody I know decided to sell it, and I'm eternally grateful, because this thing is not cheap on the secondary market. So I knew what I was getting into, and despite all of its shortcomings, I still really enjoyed the figure. I'm glad I have it. But it's important to know kind of what you're missing out on when you get this one, because there's a lot that you're missing out on, unfortunately. For what you get, it's pretty solid. I mean, the figure itself is good. I have no real issues with the Rick DOM. It's simply an accessories problem, or a lack thereof. So if you can handle that, and that's not really an issue for you, absolutely pick it up. Especially if you can find it for a good price. Otherwise, you know, if it's something you can live without because of the small accessories that you get, then, you know, skip it. But it is Char's Rick DOM. I mean, this isn't a regular Rick DOM. It's Char Aznable's, the Red Comet's Rick DOM. So I went ahead and picked it up, and like I said, if it's something you like, do the same. Thank you for watching.